Today on The Manage Her, I'm joined by a woman who understands something many leaders overlook. The experience is leadership, and connection is built on intention. Christina Wooldridge is a working mom, entrepreneur, and hospitality driven experience creator. With a background in hotel and restaurant management and nonprofit development, her work has always centered on service, storytelling, and bringing people together. She's the founder of Trivia Goat, where she leads a team of live hosts creating high quality trivia experiences that help venues build real community and repeat business. At the heart of everything Christina does is one core belief: when environments are intentional and welcoming, connection follows. And today we're going to unpack what that looks like in business, leadership, and life. Christina, welcome to The Manager. So happy to have you.
Thank you. I'm super excited. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yay. So before we talk about Trivia Goat, I wanted to start with
Mhm.
you. When you look back over your career from hospitality to nonprofits to entrepreneurship, what
Yeah.
through line do you see now that maybe you didn't see at the time?
So thank you. I feel like now that I'm in this entrepreneurial side, I've had some time to reflect on how I got here. And so that through line has been pretty apparent in the last couple years. And it's exciting to find when you can kind of identify it, right? So for me, you touched on it in the intro, hospitality, right? And what that has meant for me is just really service to others in a hospitable way, in a creative way, in a fun way. I was a hotel restaurant major in college, so that's what I majored in, and always loved events, but was still trying to find my footing after college of like, do I want to work in a hotel? Do I want to work in a restaurant? Like, what is this going to look like? Was always seeking kind of purposeful work. And when I realized I liked the skill set hospitality provided, I loved, serving others, creating memories, creating environments. It kind of led me to fundraising, which was not on my radar. It's not something we chatted about in college. It wasn't like a subset of what we were learning, but it had all the same things. It was about relationship cultivation. It was about great events. It was about creating impressions, being of service to others. But for me, it just had an additional purpose to it. So at the end of the night, when I was shutting down an event, it wasn't just that was fun. It was like, oh, we raised, $200,000 for this really great cause and we get to do it again. So that has always kind of been a part of me. And I've kind of taken that skill set just into different avenues, just into different roles. And I like to share the story of like when I was a child, I played outside a ton and I had a little brother, so he always just had to do what I instructed him to do, right? And creating like plays. The big one was parades for me. Always stuffy parades on the hour, every hour, because I knew somebody out there was watching. I was always upping the game with my parades. But even from childhood, I can see like this idea of, moments of fun, moments, environments of creativity were just always who I was. And always who I have been. Yeah.
That's so fun. It's
Yeah.
funny how we can see who we were gonna become. Someone told me, "Just do what you wanted to do when you were 4 years old and you'll be happy."
Yeah.
I think it was Catherine Letson, actually. I forget which episode she is, but it was a fantastic one, and she basically went back to doing what she wanted to do when she was a little kid, and she's so happy now.
Yeah, and then, it may not have been so specific, like, "Oh, I wanna be a lawyer or a doctor." I think that was kind of the challenging part for me, it was my road hasn't been specific. It's more of, like, skills that I like to use and things I like to hone in on. But, yeah, you look back in childhood and you're like, "Well, I was, planning events on the hour, like, since I was 6, so why wouldn't this be something that leads into adulthood?" Right?
Totally. It makes sense to me. I see it in
Ah,
my kids and I'm like, "Oh, you're bound Indy is bound to boss something." I get it. I see it in her.
there we
There's
go.
no way that she's not gonna be
In charge, right?
leading, managing in some way. So you're a working mom running a business built around live experiences. How
Mhm.
has motherhood shaped the way you lead, create, and think about connection?
Yeah, so live experiences, you get one shot and it's just like you're on. Motherhood has really, I mean, motherhood's a whirlwind. Let's just put it that way. I mean, it kind of kicked my butt in the beginning because yeah, I didn't know how to navigate both or do either well. I was trying to do both at hyper speed levels and that wasn't accomplishing very much. So, that in itself has been a journey. But I would say that in translation to how it's impacted my business and the events that we produce, I've become really hyper focused on just like addressing what needs to be addressed and not getting so involved with all the details, right? You only have a limited amount of time, at least I do, that I can dedicate to work. I try to be as present as possible when my kids are around and the times I've allotted for that. So it's just, it's caused me to just be very intentional about when I'm working, these are the problems we're solving. And I'm actually finding myself looking for more long term solutions versus the quick fixes, right? Where in the past, it might have been like, okay, whatever, let's just cover this hole and move forward. It's like, I don't want to see this problem again. Like, I don't have time to see this problem again. So, I need to be really intentional about how we find this solution and we need to kind of like package it up and send it off and move on to the next thing. So I think it's just being more mindful of my time and how I'm spending that and being just very focused on the tasks that need to get done and then, spending some time on the big picture and then being able to shut it down for a minute and move on and come back to it. But yeah, it's just a lot of intentionality. It's been kind of necessary to kind of accomplish both.
Yeah, it's a different season of life. We were talking about it when the camera was off, how different the season of motherhood is, and what a special time it is too, like honoring ourselves as mothers and making sure we don't miss these like kind of beautiful and special little snowflake moments of motherhood while we're in the pursuit of business. It's great to be in business, but it's like, how do we balance both?
100%. And, I think most of my life until I became a mother, my value was really centered around my work and for better or worse, right? So when that's kind of stripped from you, when you producing in the same way isn't what your value is equating to, it's a really hard thing to understand and to connect that motherhood is also, so valuable and provides so much, but you have to be able to see that and really own it. And it took me a while to get there, honestly. Because when you're not producing results in numbers and finances or more accounts or whatever, where people can look at you and be like, oh, wow, you're doing a great job. And it's hard to be like, well, I got my kid to sleep by 8. I mean, that's a feat, right? It's like, who cares? Nobody cares that I got my kid to sleep at 8, but actually, those things matter. So, yeah, it's, for me, I'm like my daughter's 5, my oldest, so I'm only 5 years in. I assume there's still tons to learn, which I'm sure I can connect with you on as we get into preteens and all that good stuff.
Oh, it gets wild. No, it just gets different, but it doesn't honestly, if as long as you keep your communication like you do with your kids, you just keep your communication going and just never let them push you away. If they try to push you away, you squeeze them tighter. Don't ever let them push you away and there's just be like, "Okay, fine, I give up on
Mm.
you." 'Cause that's the point. I was talking to my 16-year-old about it yesterday, and he said, "Yeah, some of his friends have gotten their parents to just kind of give up on them
Oh,
by pushing them away and being so difficult." And I was like, I remember when he tried it with me at 14, one of my friends said, "Do not let him push you away." She
mm.
was like, "Amy, if he tries to push you away, you just squeeze him like a boa constrictor. Do not let him push you away." So I didn't, and, it worked. It worked. I got to hang
Great.
on to him. Yeah.
No, it's great advice. Yeah, no, I'm pocketing that.
That that was a good one because there was a moment there with him that I thought, "Oh, he wanted to go stay, go we were gonna go to Hawaii," and he's like, "Let me just go stay at my dad's
Mm.
house." And I thought to myself, "Oh, man, that would be so much easier, and I don't really feel like dealing with him right now." He was being so difficult, and my friend was like, "No." She's like, "I remember when my daughter did this at this age, and I let her go stay with her dad, and it was the worst thing I
Mm.
ever did in my life." She's like, "Don't do it." And I thought at the time, I was like, "Oh, you're being so dramatic." but I think she was 100% on point.
Yeah, you can see it now. No, that's big for sure.
Yeah, parenting. Ah, it's a whole nother thing. And so hospitality is often seen as soft work, but it's actually logistics, emotional intelligence, crisis management, and leadership. When did you realize that this was real power?
Yeah, so you're absolutely right. It's a lot of working in the moment, especially, live events were kind of my bread and butter. And so there's down to something's gonna go wrong. You can't really pinpoint it. You don't really know to what degree, but something will go wrong. So pivoting is essential and doing it with a smile on your face and not kind of tainting the user or, guest experience is probably your biggest goal, right? And it is a superpower. I thought it was something anyone could really do, but the more I did it and the more I was around other people who were involved, I was like, "Oh, like, they're depending on me to, like, address all the," because everyone's like, "Oh, I don't know," they wanna step back. So it is a superpower. And I think it's become more relevant even just in my daily life, because what I realize is there's not a lot of people out there who want to serve you. And that can be, I'm shopping around for insurance right now, and it's awful. It's not the most fun phone calls I want to make. And it's very clear that they also don't want to talk to you, like you're not like a huge priority either. Um, and so it is a superpower because I recognize that not a lot of people use it. Um, Creating the human connection in any conversation over the phone, in person, it's huge. And it's gotten me really far, specifically, in fundraising too. It's like you can sit down with someone and just be transactional and say, like, hey, we need this sponsorship. Hey, do you want to give this much? Yes or no? Great. You'll have a table, have fun, we'll see you later. Or you can work on, hey, what is it you're trying to accomplish with your donation? What is it about the org that you really enjoy? What is it that you're looking to change with your financial gift? And you find out more, you create relationships, and now you have this more long-term, robust relationship that, you don't have to return to every year hoping that they come out for your event, right? So this hospitable nature can serve in so many different outlets. Can be your business or just trying to get someone on the phone to help you. I've literally stopped conversations when I knew they were going pretty south to say, let's just start over. um, I just want to connect with you. Is there something I can do to make this easier for you and your job? Is there something that I can provide that would make this conversation turn so that we both can leave here with what we need? And I do that because and it'll stop people in their tracks, They'll be like, "What? What? Oh, well," and they soften, you know? I haven't had an encounter where that wasn't something that didn't soften the other person, right? And then you get to navigate things differently, and hopefully, you both win on that one, and we hang up satisfied, right? But it's just something that it's not used as often as you think it would be. Even in
Eh,
the service industry, right? Like,
yeah,
you'll have
well,
a
less and less, right? I feel like less and less,
yeah,
Christina.
it's
Yeah, and
really shocking sometimes. Um,
yeah. Well, as the generations are going on, there's more technology, there's less actual
mhm,
interpersonal interaction happening, you're younger than me, but the generation a little younger than you has even less
mhm,
social interaction, so we're kind of losing the real people skills,
mhm.
those how to be hospitable, how to be in the service industry, and, like, as we're losing those, the people who still have them, we're kinda lucky.
Yeah,
We kinda have, like, this hidden secret superpower that we kinda need to be making sure we teach our kids
yeah,
how to talk to
100%.
people. Yeah.
100%. And yes, it's maybe considered like a soft skill, but it is dying and it's so necessary and just really unfortunate when you have those bad experiences. And those experiences, you have one interaction, it ruins your day and ruins their day. It's just like not worth it. Sometimes I'll leave experiences and I think back when I was a server or worked in a coffee shop, By the way, I've had about 1,400 jobs. I've been in every job from, like, Sears portrait studio to, like, golf cart person to server. I mean, I've been working since I was 14, so I've been in a lot of places, and my
That's awesome.
experience has always been when I'm just nice and of service to others, my day actually goes by faster. It's not even just about them. It's like, it would help me just get through the day, and I'd be like, "Oh, it's already time to clock out," you know, because 'Cause you're just, like, occupied with doing things. So I'm
Oh,
always like,
totally.
"If you only knew, like, if you just put some more effort, your day would actually be more fun." Like, it's even a benefit for you. So that's always really shocking to me.
Couldn't agree more. When I worked as a kid in the pharmacy, we had a boutique up front, and if you just could stand there, or you could interact with the customers, and if you talked to the other employees and you talked to the customers and you get involved, the day would go so fast.
Mhm.
But if no one was there to talk to, it was still like the longest days of my life.
Yes, you can feel the hours, literally. So, just a mental note for everyone, just stay busy, connect, and, it'll even make your day better and go faster, so
I love it. I love it. Trivia Goat isn't just about trivia, though. It's community building. What do venue owners misunderstand about what actually keeps people coming back?
yeah, this is a great question, and I love it because it is about community building. So, the way we've approached this business is I really find people who are looking to kind of fill their time with, experiences in hosting and they get to like go out, host a game, meet people, connect, and then go back to their 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And those have been some of the best hosts we have. We've had people who have been with us for over 10 years now because it's just a part of their week. It's just what they look forward to. Because of that, they've built really strong relationships with the players. So teams will come back week after week. They'll bring their other friends, they might build teams from there. But what keeps them coming back is that relationship with our hosts, right? Granted, the specials, the drink specials, the food specials, the promotion on, social media absolutely helps. You can't downplay that. But the real bread and butter is that connection that our hosts are making with the players and the teams. And, we have so many locations that's very evident. It can even be annoying at times because when a host needs a day off, they're sick, they're on vacation, I almost 90% of the time will receive an email from one of the teams that goes consistently saying, you know, where's our host? And we don't want this person to come back. And our other host gets it, and this person doesn't get it. And I'm like, they can have a night off. They can go on vacation for a day, but that's how strong the bond has become where people are like, I need my person. They make this night for me. So, yeah, for better or worse, those connections can be really strong. And I think when we start with new clients, I really try to express that to them that this is a partnership. That yes, we will take care of a lot of the marketing pieces. And, if you on your end want to do some of the promotions and stuff like that, we'll collaborate. But really, it's the partnership that happens at the games. And so our hosts tend to introduce themselves, try to make friends with the staff because when those bonds are strong, when they know the staff, they know the managers really well, they introduce they connect with each other. When people come into that environment, it's a whole different story. Like the staff is promoting trivia, trivia is promoting the food, the beverages. It's just like a very, very strong partnership that people want to walk into, right? But when it's too siloed, when it's like, "Oh, that's just the company we hire, and we're over here," like, I mean, it can work, but it's not as successful.
Yeah, yeah. So for the people who've never heard of Trivia Goat, just so we don't lose them, could you just like pitch it to us real quick so they understand what it is?
Yeah, so Trivia Goat, we specialize in live entertainment. So we do trivia games at bars, breweries, restaurants where you can utilize tech to submit your answer. So you just use your phone. There's a question appears, you submit your answer. You can see your real time rankings, your score, and there's prizes at the end, and we just do really fun questions. We try to keep it very a good variety, so we're not trying to find the smartest person in the room. We're trying to find the most well-rounded, balanced team. So there's pop culture, there's history, there's science, there's 50-50 if you've gotten no questions right and you just need to pick one. There's options there. We have Name That Tune. So we really just try to build a more well-rounded game. We've been to other games where the questions can be really hard. You get to a point where you're like, I'm just opting out because I have no idea. We don't want anyone leave. We don't want anyone to leave feeling like they didn't contribute. So that's really our goal.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah, it's super fun, and we do themed games throughout the year. We have a lot of Harry Potter requests and a lot of, Harry Potter. Taylor Swift has been a really big one this year. So if you think about question answer, we really can customize any game for any topic, including personal topics. We've done birthday parties or, retirement parties where it's, like, about the person and stuff, so it's
Oh,
really fun.
yeah, like engagement parties, that'd be so
Oh, yeah.
fun.
Mhm. Yeah, like the dinner, like the, what is it called? Just the rehearsal dinner?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. So,
Yeah.
that's
Kind
really
of kind of cool. Never I love it. I love it so much. So you lead a team of live hosts, right? So what's the hardest part of scaling something that relies so heavily on people, presence, and personality?
Yeah, I mean, that's a great question, and I would say I'm not even sure, I've gotten the whole picture of what that would look like. So, managing people for live events is really hard. It's difficult to find the right person. And then once you find the right person who would make a great host, you also have to find the right location. Um, Bars, breweries, some of them are very specific in the type of, clients that go there or like the vibe they have. And it's not always a fit for every person, right? So it's about understanding the location vibe, also the new hosts, and making that match. So scaling can be challenging. I think for me, I've had to kind of look at the business and say, what is the most important part about this business for me? And to be completely honest, it's the ability to use my skills and things that I'm interested in and building community and, creating this awesome team that I love. But also being present as a mom, being present with my family, with my husband, how I can balance that. So if someone called today and was said, I want to give you 20 locations, it's like, it's not really something I could jump on right now. Like, I could fill it, but I wouldn't be able to like do it well, or it would impede on what I'm trying to do with this business, right? I would be completely thrown in there for a long time getting 20 locations done on the fly. So I've had to figure out like what's scalable. And truly our game is great. We love our game. We write great games. And a lot of times people have hosts that can host it in their locations. Their staff knows their clients better than we do. They already work there. They already have those relationships. So I've actually kind of picked out the pieces that are more scalable in a way that still supports what I'm trying to accomplish, right? Which is more of the balance, right? We have started launching our self-serve option where basically people can utilize our games. They just host it, we train them, we provide tech support, but they're hosting. That allows me to get into anyone's hands, right? Cross states, because even, growing across states with people, that's a whole nother layer of HR and what it looks like to have W-2 employees in other states and that kind of thing. So with this model, I'm able to just sell it, have them pick the right person, and then I empower them to go on and have a great game, right? So that's kind of where I land with
I
scaling.
I
It's
like it, Christina. I think
not
that's
like
how you scale. I love that.
yeah. So it may
Yeah.
not always be just what you're traditionally been doing. It might be taking a look at what works and how to get that into more hands. So,
Yep. We call that the AC in our family. It's called the adjust and conquer.
yes, that is what it is. We see adjust and conquer. Yeah.
It's when you sometimes a one little tweak to a business model, because as the world changes, one little tweak can adjust you right into the sweet spot, you know?
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean,
so
so
I
that's on
like that.
that's pretty much my big task this year is to learn and understand how to sell that and how to get people familiar with it.
Oh, I like it, Christina. I think that's great. 100% you're over the target with that, it making that simple adjustment. I love that.
Yeah, thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, run with that.
No.
So, I'm like, "There it is." What systems or boundaries have you had to put in place to protect your energy while still delivering high-touch experiences?
Boundaries are big, right? So at the moment, specifically with Trivia Goat, we went through a season where we didn't have like a scheduling procedure for on call or if people dropped out last minute. So if somebody calls like, "Oh, I have a flat tire, I can't make it to my location," it's like, okay, and we're like scrambling to find someone to fill it, and it's really stressful. And because if you don't show up, even one time, it can make or break your relationship with the client, right? They have people sitting
Yes.
there waiting. When is it going to start? When is it going to start? And then nobody shows up. That's a really bad look for them. And it only takes one time for them to say, like, we're done. So it's a big deal. So I have created some systems now with on call hosts that kind of now we have like backup and, we figured out a way to do that. So when that happens, which it happened this morning, it's like you just call the on-call person and then they fill in, and we figured out how, to get everyone the right equipment, and we've created location sheets. So all that to be said is, we've had to put some processes in place that work
Mhm.
to help us address some of the problems that were reoccurring and were really stressful. And when it's super stressful, that just bleeds into how I'm at home. And, I'm remote, so I can only, be on the phone and begging people to pick up shifts, and it's impeding on my mental health. So
Yeah.
that's been really good. I also have hired an exceptional general manager. So she's more on the ground there. And she's been sort of like my boundary, I suppose, where if hosts have, just general questions or they need to reach someone right away, she's usually the first point of contact. Same with clients. If a bar has a question or needs to relay information, she's usually that point person. But from there, she'll give messages to me and when I need to get involved, right? And having her has been, the best decision we ever made. It's part time for her and she loves it. And she loves being in the field and getting out there and visiting our hosts and creating those relationships. And it's a perfect fit for her. And we love her. But I also don't micromanage her. I don't I mean, we check in, but I don't, "Hey, have you done this? Hey, have you done that? Hey, I haven't seen this yet." I really have full trust that she's just gonna get it done, and if something doesn't happen, we chat about it, but for the most part, I do entrust her to do it well, and that's been huge. It's been huge to get out of the, scheduling minutia and sort of that, you're the only person anyone can contact for anything. So just things like that have been helpful in terms of creating boundaries and just protecting uh my space a little bit more.
I love that. Yeah, it's so
Yeah.
nice to get out of that, like, solopreneur kind of world and get into having a little bit more, hierarchy within the company, so you have a little bit of, like, a little buffer, a
Yeah.
little bit of a buffer.
Yeah, a
Yeah,
little bit.
yeah,
Totally. Totally.
it's so nice. Was there a moment when you realized you weren't just creating games, you were creating belonging?
So that question's great because I just remember the actual moment. When thinking about that, I was like, "Oh, yeah, I remember the moment." It was, like, 3 years ago. I'm remote, so most of our locations are in, San Diego. I live in Orange County, so I'm not always on site, but we visit, and we try to get out there maybe once a quarter or so. And this time I hadn't we had done a pretty big influx of hiring, so I hadn't personally met a lot of the new hosts. And so I threw like I believe it was a Christmas party, holiday party at the end of the year. And we actually had a really good turnout. We had 18 people RSVP and I don't know, we had a staff of maybe 25. So it was really good. I was like, "Oh, great. I'm excited. I'm going to meet most of our hosts and this is going to be really great." And so I got there and we just did it at a bar that we partner with and we had drinks and food and it was really great to see everyone in person. But I remember stepping back for a second and I noticed that they all kind of knew each other even more. Even though they're all at different locations, different nights of the week, I think when they were training together or, we have, like, a Facebook group and stuff, and people would, like, chat on there or whatnot. I think they were, like, also hanging out and stuff outside of, whatever we had created, right? So you could tell they were friends, and I remember thinking, like, "Oh my gosh, they're, like, actual friends, like, they're gonna go hang out after and, do stuff together," and I just remember thinking, like, "That's so much bigger than I thought." Like, I thought I'm just coming here to get hosts together and they can say, "Hi, my name is, and I'm at this location," and, just get familiar. But actually, these people had really strong relationships with each other already, outside of me and Trivigo, right? And that was really powerful to see, because it just didn't really occur to me that that was happening, you know? And it was, and I could see it, right? Like, this is kind of a niche group of people and industry. So it's probably cool to find someone else who enjoys doing what you do, and that's probably the starter. But yeah, so that was the moment I realized, like, wow, this is bigger than just weekly games.
And how long have you guys been doing this now?
I've been doing it now since 2020, like 2021. Yeah,
Okay.
so, the shutdown, like, kinda put us on pause and stuff like that, but we did a lot of Zoom games, and then after that, is when we really, like, jumped back in, and as people were opening, we're getting in invested with them, but
That's so fun. So
yeah.
much fun, you guys.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so what's a lesson from hospitality or motherhood that you think more founders, especially women, should trust instead of override?
Yeah, and I think I can speak to, like, the pre-founder, like, the woman who's kind of on the fence of starting something or thinking, has an idea, right? I think my advice is give yourself permission to explore the uniqueness, you know? My business, it's not traditional, right? If I go to any networking event, I guarantee I'm the only person in the room who has a trivia company. Um, Most people do not. And for a while, I didn't see the value in that. I was actually kind of, a little bit hesitant to share because it felt like it wasn't good enough, that it wasn't as prestigious enough, that it didn't have enough behind it to share with people, like, "This is what I do as a professional." I limited myself. I limited my relationships. I limited, the growth of my company by keeping it here, and so I would just tell people, explore the uniqueness. If you have an idea that you feel isn't really traditional, seems kind of silly, explore it. Think of the life you want to create, right? And for me, it was flexibility. I need flexibility. I want to be present at these times. How could I do that? Think about what the trickle effect could be. Things that I didn't even know. I didn't know people were going to become friends. I didn't know they're going to like support, like, some of our hosts are musicians or they're in theater. A lot of them go to their shows and stuff. Like, I didn't know that was going to happen. I couldn't have predicted that. But by exploring and sharing it, you have no idea what the impact's going to be. And so just give yourself permission to do that. Not all roads are linear. And if you can kind of hone in too on the skill set that aligns with your personality that you've seen since you were maybe even a child, run with that. Don't dismiss it. And I used to dismiss it a lot. I have family members who are very, lawyers, or their road just felt so specific and like, gosh, like maybe I should go into the medical industry, or maybe I should look into, like, well, never law school, but maybe like, maybe the medical industry. But it wasn't who I am. Like, that's not who I am at all, and I was dismissing, like, this whole creative side of me that can manage logistics, manage live chaos, who can, have creative solutions. I was dismissing all of that because it didn't feel or look or sound like something worth investing in, right? So I just would want people to honor who you are, pay attention to what that looks like, and try it, you know? I mean, what's the
Yeah.
worst that can happen, right? Like,
Yeah, you never know.
you
We
never
do
know.
call this we call it throwing the spaghetti at the wall to see if it sticks.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, and there's so many examples out there, right? Like, we're just, this small business, but I mean, let's be real, like, poopery, like,
Right?
you know what I mean? It's like, who would have thought, like, that would be everywhere? And if you would have said that out loud to your family members when you were thinking of that idea,
They would have laughed, right? They would have totally laughed.
so it's, like, something I always keep in the back of my head, like, just remember poopery, like, you know, nothing was
That's a good
silly
one.
as that, right?
You never know.
You just never
And
know.
you never know until you try, honestly. You don't. And
100%.
you have a fun personality and you're super creative, and it makes sense that you went into this like super creative space where you're continually creating new content too, right?
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely, and it's fun when we get new challenges with themes or, people. It's like, we do this one event for this law firm every year, and we've used, like, their C-level staff, like, their baby pictures and, like, who's and it makes people laugh, like, you can watch them laughing and, it just we're building that camaraderie with their teams, and it's really great to see, but it takes our creative, viewpoint of how to put this together and make it super fun. So it's great. Yeah, I love it.
That's so cool. So, if someone listening feels called to build a business around experience or service, but worried it's not scalable or not serious enough, what would you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to just trying it, but also I strongly believe in getting outside of your bubble and just meeting people. That is something I actually have to actively practice. I can get very siloed. I can just do my work, send my emails, market my business, go pick up my kids, come back, just do the things. And eventually that takes a toll where I feel stuck, I don't feel inspired, I don't feel, I start going down the like woe is me hole, right? And it's because I'm sort of eliminating myself from others. And that's a really big part of this. There are so many services out there. Especially for women, free, low cost, like ones that could guide you, logistically, like this is how you set up your business, literally step by step, or can coach you. There's free coaches out there through different organizations. So I would just recommend don't just put it on your shoulders to say, like, okay, I just have this big boulder to roll up this hill. How am I going to do it? Reach out to other people. Start going to networking events. Start, just talking, taking people to coffee, just sharing what you do, looking up different programs that offer assistance with all this. Just get out there. And you'll find that people are super supportive. And people tend in those capacities, they do wanna kind of help you out, share what they've learned, give a little more, direction if you need it, and then others will actually sit there and help you write a business plan, some of the services, and that might be what you need. You might just need someone to put it in perspective for me for a second. So use it. There's tools, there's people. Um,
Yeah. Like
it's
the
all
Chamber of Commerce, right? Chamber of Commerce is a good place to go.
commerce. Yeah, there's also, like, the Small Business Development Association. I mean, that's, like, in every city. There's, like, Cal State Fullerton has, like, a lot of women in business, cohorts. Chapman College does, like, women entrepreneurial cohorts, and most of those are free. Like, I'm participating in one next week. That's, like, a 4-week series, and it's, like it's free. You just it's about women, entrepreneurs, and they're gonna help you fine tune whatever it is you're looking to get a better grasp on. And even if it just gives me the space to kind of laser focus on something that I've been putting off, then that's fantastic. So there's just a lot of resources and more than people think that you could really take advantage of to help you stay motivated and move forward.
That's great advice, Christina. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah,
how we met
that's
you, right? It's just connection.
absolutely just networking.
Yeah.
Totally. Shout out to Daisy. Hi, Daisy.
Yeah. Easy. Love her.
At this stage of your life and business, what does being well managed mean to you? Not just professionally, but personally.
Yeah, being well managed, it's kind of in blocks, right? I think my mental health probably comes first. I tend to err on I struggle with anxiety and some depression. And so things like that can get really out of control really quickly if I don't pay attention to it. So when I am managing myself and I feel like, I am in a good space, I'm exercising. That's not like a luxury for me. It's a necessity. Like I have to build that in. It's my family, I feel present when we're around each other. I don't feel disheveled. I mean, of course, there's always things to do and things to think about, but for the most part, I'm available emotionally, physically for the time we had together. I'm present, and that's a big one. And then with my business, where I feel like all parties are just activated. Our manager, who's wonderful, she's supported, she's doing her thing. All cylinders are running that week, games are off, everybody's where they're supposed to be. Yeah, so it's just kind of that everything is just kind of all engines are running, right? But I do think it starts with me being in the proper mental space and capacity, right? And I do have to pay attention to myself as well. And luckily, I know it's like running or like Pilates, like I just have to stay active. And I can tell when I'm not. Like, you can feel it. And you're like, ah,
Me too. Me
I
too. I'm like, "Oh, I need to go work out."
know.
I definitely do.
Yeah, it's like put on the running shoes, go up the hill. Like you just gotta breathe for a second. So I
Yes.
guess it's like knowing your outlets, and for me, running is probably the best just thing I can do for myself when I'm feeling kinda out of control. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and everybody has different things. Like, for some people, it's like, "Oh, go take a bath," or "Go read a book for a little bit,"
Yeah.
or "Go draw or paint or make jewelry," or "Be creative in whatever way you won't need to be creative," and it's everybody needs to find an outlet that's not, like, productive, but
Ex
something that's, like, fills you up in another way. Because I feel
100%.
like our society, we're so, obsessed with productivity that we're sometimes not really allowing ourselves the space to just kind of be human and
Mhm.
do what humans need to do.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah.
Productivity can be a beast to battle,
Yeah.
but you just gotta take care of yourself and whatever that is for you, and some people, it's even, being around others, some people, it's not
Yeah.
being around people, you know?
Yes.
Um, but yeah, for me, running it's always been sort of my, like, secret weapon when things just feel out of balance.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I never knew anybody like that until I married my husband, and I could like tell when he needed to go for a run. It was like a doggy who started like pacing around the house, and I'm like, you probably should go take a run, honey.
Totally, I know, I make my kids do that sometimes before bed. I'm like, "You have to go touch the wall 10 times as fast as you can," and they're like, "Okay."
That's so fun. We'll put on the like YouTube, they have like all these like fun musical like stop and go kind of
Oh,
games,
yeah,
or
yeah.
like Simon Says kind of games, or like
Mhm,
the freeze dance
mhm.
stuff, and we'll do that sometimes before we eat dinner, and before we start winding it down, it's like one more burst of let's go.
Yeah, uh-huh. That's often much needed, yeah, the one more burst, totally.
Yeah, let's get it out before we try to wind it down.
Mhm, 100%.
Cuz we have the same age kids, like
Yep,
5 and 3.
mhm.
My littles and your onlys.
My only Yeah, and they'll act like, "Oh, I'm right," you'll see them kinda winding down, and then the second you're like, "Okay, we're gonna start getting ready for bed," or whatever, it's like bouncing off the walls and all this stuff, so I'm like, "That's it. Run the laps outside. I want you to touch it 15 times." And then as they're doing it, I'm like, "Now hop. Now crawl like a lion." Like, so yeah, whatever you gotta do, whatever you gotta
No,
do.
it's, motherhood is survival.
Mhm. Yep, whatever tricks you got, just pull them out.
Heck yeah, I love it. So, Christina, this conversation is such a reminder that leadership doesn't always look loud or flashy. Sometimes it looks like creating space where people feel seen, welcomed, and connected. Thank you for the work you're doing, for modeling what intentional leadership looks like, and for reminding us that community is not accidental, it is designed. For everyone listening, if this episode resonated with you, share it with a woman who's building something meaningful in the margins of her life.
Awesome. Yeah.
And until next time, listeners, see you later from the manager.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Christina. Thank you.